How's it going, Rams? We are back with another edition of CTV Sports. I'm AJ Fredrikson.
Happy to be here as always. I'm Hunter Strand. Here's what we got on tap for you tonight.
Rams football took the win against Northern Colorado in a nail-biting game, which should have been a blowout.
Women's swim dive took a trip up to Horsetooth for their annual workout, and women stayed undefeated throughout the weekend.
While women's volleyball fell short in a 5-set thriller against Oregon, but had a successful performance nonetheless.
All that and more right here on CTV Sports, which starts right now. The Rams faced off against Northern Colorado Saturday night. Northern Colorado dominated the first half and ended up leading 10-0 at halftime, which was a huge surprise considering the Rams were 5-touchdown favorites. Colorado State chipped away in the second half, only be down 17-14 going into the fourth quarter. With just 44 seconds left, Rams trailing, quarterback Brandon Fowler-Nicolosi orchestrated a clutch 13-yard, 77-yard drive, ending in a 13-yard touchdown run just inside the pylon for a 21-17 lead. A potential UNC game-tying catch with 8 seconds left was overturned on review, and final interception sealed the day for the Rams' Ag Day escape. AJ, what were your thoughts on the game?
I thought Fowler-Nicolosi made a lot of questionable decisions, and I thought the coaching had some questionable decisions, and I thought the defense was a little iffy. I don't know. I just don't think there were that many positives to take away from the game.
No, definitely not. I mean, when you turn the ball over 5 times and still end up with a win, I mean, that's a huge thing, but you can't be not turning the ball over 5 times against a team like UTSA or a team like Washington. You just can't be doing that, and it feels like a loss, honestly, in the Rams side, so just not a good day at all.
It does feel like a loss because it's one of those wins that even though you won, it doesn't feel like they're not carrying any momentum into the next week. They feel even worse about the UTSA game probably.
Right.
So it's just not a positive for anyone going into next week.
Speaking of that, they get a bye week this week. Then they'll play UTSA from a Saturday from now. And I honestly think this is a kind of a must-win game. You got to go out and dominate UTSA after barely beating Northern Colorado. They looked good against Washington week 1, covered, but then I just don't know where you go from here. I think you had to hopefully just a wake-up call, and hopefully they just pick it up. You
have to get some momentum going into Mountain West play. I mean, if you don't have momentum going into Boise, going into the teams that they're going to be facing, you're not going to succeed, right?
Yeah.
But moving on to Colorado State women's volleyball, they had a successful weekend going 2-2 in the 4 games that they played, getting wins over Eastern Washington and CSU in the Portland Invitational. Leading the way for the green and gold was the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Week, Kekua Richards. Now, Richards, Hunter, she had an incredible game. I mean, Defensive Player of the Week is nothing to slouch over. She had 36 kills and 33 blocks.
That is unbelievable,
45% kill conversion rate. I mean, how about that?
Yeah, that's unbelievable. I mean, to see those stats for the Rams, especially a team that kind of struggled a little bit. They lost UNC, but to have like a defensive player like that is definitely going to help them with the Mountain West and definitely get them to regain that title like they won last year.
Yeah, I mean, if she could lead them to a similar performance that they've had in previous years, I mean, they're capable of winning the Mountain West Conference. So
no, definitely.
That's exciting.
Yeah, they definitely bounced back in a big way. The CSU swim and dive team competed in their annual Horsetooth swim this past Saturday. Next month, they will dive into competition at the Front Range Invitational in Denver before hosting early rival meets, including Epic's Triangular meet on October 24th and a Border War showdown against Wyoming on Halloween. The Rams roster gets a boost training, bringing in 12 freshmen, 3 of them being divers. The Rams will look to make the most of this with a young roster this season.
Moving on to women's soccer. Women's soccer was able to secure a win, moving to 6-0 to stay undefeated against UC San Diego over the weekend. For the Rams, it was star Olivia Fout that came up clutch, scoring her 19th career goal in the second half, which tied a record set by Kaylee Lordaman for the Rams. So tying the record, I mean, that's pretty serious stuff. Second half especially, very clutch again and again for the Rams. But it was an offensive onslaught. They outscored UC San Diego 20-6 in shots on goal. And what the team called throwing the kitchen sink at them in the second half with blitzes and crossing the ball down the field, they kind of just dominated them in every aspect of the game.
No, definitely.
And they look to stay undefeated in Denver to face Denver University coming up.
Yeah, I mean, they just got ranked 25th today. I mean, that's crazy. They're 25th in the nation. They're getting some more national attention. It's a big thing for CSU Rams.
How about that? Stay undefeated. After the break, Rams, we're going to see what John has to say about college football picks for this weekend.
After 2 years?
You gotta be kidding me! Okay, no
Robbie.
Seriously, do you have anything you can use against the dragon?
I can do fireball. That'll do a lot of damage.
Yeah, to all of us.
Well,
We're in a 4-foot group.
I'm sorry. What else do you want me to do?
Okay.
Hold on. All right. Wizard, what do you do?
Welcome back, Rams. The first 2.5 weeks of college football has brought us full of surprises, highlights, upsets, all of it. Tonight, I'll be giving my top 5 biggest surprises and disappointments through the first 3 weeks, starting with number 5, Arch Manning. Arch Manning has been one of the biggest individual surprises in all of college football. However, it's not a good surprise as Manning has been underwhelming to say the least. Arch ended the game, first game of the season, throwing 17 for 30 for 170 yards with a touchdown along with an interception. And while the stat sheet doesn't tell the full story, as Arch struggled under the bright lights with inaccuracy and inefficiency, proved to be one of the biggest tests so far, losing to Ohio State 14-7. Luckily for Manning, he had an impressive bounce-back win against San Jose State. However, questions continue on whether he is ready to take Texas to the top. Moving to my number 4 on tonight's list is Oregon quarterback Dante Moore. He has been a very, very positive surprise. After finishing number 1 in the AP poll last season under Dylan Gabriel, the Ducks and head coach Dan Lanning had quite the task of finding their next guy. It's common with transitions to come up with growing pains, but not for Dante Moore and the Ducks. In their first 2 games, they've outscored their opponents 128-16 with wins over Oklahoma State and Montana State. Through 2 games, Moore had been cooking, throwing for a combined total of 470 yards and 6 touchdowns, with completing 77% of his passes with no interceptions. With the Ducks starting 2-0, they now shift their focus as they now prepare for their Week 3 matchup against in-conference opponent, the 1-1 Northwestern Wildcats. Moving towards the 3rd spot on tonight's list is LSU. The SEC Conference is notorious for having some of the greatest college football programs in all of the nation. Since the 2019 championship team, the LSU Tigers have had their fair share of ups and downs. In the last 3 years alone, under head coach Brian Kelly, the Tigers haven't fully lived up to their lofty expectations. This year, the Tigers have came out to start the season hot, beating number 4 ranked Clemson in Week 1, 17-10, and most recently beating Louisiana Tech 27-3. This LSU defense has been near perfect and is being now talked about as one of the best defenses in all of college football. Thanks to players like defensive back Mansour Delane and linebacker Whit Weeks, the LSU defense is putting the whole nation on notice. While I expected for LSU to be a very solid team, I was not expecting their defense to be this good to this magnitude. Transitioning toward the second biggest surprise thus far is Florida State. After just being 1 game away from the national championship just 2 years ago, the Seminoles had a complete collapse last year, ending their season 2-1. This year, they've been completely flipped the script in comparison to last year. In Week 1, Florida State upsetting Alabama in a convincing fashion, 31-17. The Noles followed that with an absolute dismantling of East Texas A&M in a 7-3 blowout. Florida State finds themselves ranked 10th in the coaches' AP poll as they enter Week 3. In just 2 weeks, they've tied their win total from last season. Dare I say the Seminoles are back? Well, Florida State finds themselves in a good position, and then there's one. Now moving over to the number 1 biggest surprise so far in all of college football, being the South Florida Bulls. After finishing a mediocre 7-6, many questions marks surrounded the Bulls coming into the season, but boy, have they made a statement as they've started their season with 2 upset wins over 2 ranked opponents. In Week 1, the Bulls found themselves squaring off against the 25th ranked Boise State Broncos, where they dominated from the start, beating them 34-7. To turn around and then face an in-state opponent in the number 13th ranked Florida Gators in Gainesville is no easy task. But the Bulls came out victorious, winning 18-16 to improve to 2-0 in the season. The Bulls will have their toughest test yet as they're set to face the 5th-ranked Carson Beck-led Miami Hurricanes. This Saturday, the Bulls enter Saturday as now ranked 18th in the AP coach poll. Could this 2-0 South Florida start be the start of a Cinderella run? The first 2 weeks of college football has been nothing short of electric and doesn't stop there. Don't go anywhere, Ram fans. After the break, AJ, Hunter, and I will be back on Pick'ems discussing our picks for the week.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab,
I knew
a
it.
car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right.
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab,
I knew
a
it.
car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
Welcome back from the break, Rams, and the best part of the show, at least for my favorite, Pick'ems. First, we have Notre Dame versus Texas A&M. What are your thoughts on this game, AJ?
I mean, it's the best sports segment in all of TV history, but I don't know. I've got to take Notre Dame because I think this game is gonna be decided by if the Notre Dame D-line can stop Marcel Reed and all his speed and all the options that A&M is gonna throw at them. And I think Marcus Freeman is gonna have Notre Dame up to the task, and I think they're gonna be able to stop the run, especially after that first week loss. You know they're gonna be fired up. I can't go against them.
Yeah, I mean, facing Miami and then losing in that fashion, that definitely left a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to be out for vengeance. And I trust Jeremiah Love to have a big game. Even though they didn't pull away with the W against Miami, I still think that they're going to come back with a big win and a big statement to get back onto the right track.
Yeah, and they didn't even play last week, so I think that's a huge step. You saw his thing after post-game saying, like, this is on everyone, this is not on one person. They're a huge team. They're very well connected. I think Notre Dame is just going to run all over A&M because A&M hasn't looked good. They played Utah State last week. They looked pretty shaky. This game is in Notre Dame. Notre Dame did beat them last year in A&M, so I'm going to go with Notre Dame.
All right, moving on to two teams that won in week one. I mean, Georgia beat Marshall, and Tennessee ended up beating Syracuse. But Georgia, every year, I say Kirby Smart is probably the best coach in college football.
hands down.
Yeah.
And no matter what team they have, the defense is always going to be number one. They're always going to be fighting. And Tennessee just has a weaker roster than I think they've had in previous years. And so I just can't see Georgia losing this game.
Yeah, I think Tennessee's underrated in this one. They just put up 72 points last week. I think Georgia's good, but like playing Marshall week one, then playing another FBS school, I just don't think they'll be well tested. They're going into Tennessee. So I think Tennessee is going to get this one with their new quarterback. Just kind of throw off Georgia a little bit. They haven't played anyone that hasn't been really tested yet.
I'm going to stick with my guy, AJ, with this one. I'm going Georgia because Kirby Smart, even though it may be a different roster than we're used to seeing, Kirby Smart, like you said, is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach the game, and I think he's going to have his guys ready to face Tennessee. I'm just going to go with what feels right. I'm going to go with my gut, and I'm going to pick Georgia as well.
I just don't think Kirby Smart gets the respect he deserves for all the national championships they've made, all the SEC championships they've gotten.
Yeah.
He just doesn't get the respect.
No, and you see that in the AP poll too. They're only ranked 5th. I think Tennessee's up to 15th after dropping 72, which I thought is a little crazy. I think they're kind of hyping up the match a little bit. But next we got Florida versus LSU. What are your thoughts on this one, John?
I'm going to go with LSU. I've been down on them way too long, and especially after that matchup with Florida from last week against South Florida. I mean, South Florida has been showing that they're a very good team overall, but I'm going to stick with the Tigers. I'm going to stop doubting them. I'm going to trust Brian Kelly, and I'm going to trust that defense. That defense has been nasty all season, so I'm going to go with LSU.
Yeah, that's what surprised me the most about LSU is you normally don't hear about their defense, right? You hear about their offense. They've had Joe Burrow. They've had other QBs that have been great. I'm going to go with Florida in this one. Me and AJ actually watched that Florida game together. I think Florida kind of got robbed towards the end. There was a bunch of calls. I think it's crazy they dropped out of the top 25. Going from 13th to unranked, I think was crazy. LSU, I don't think their win over Clemson was that good. I just don't think Clemson is as good as their ranking. And they didn't look great against, I think they played some Louisiana in a school, small. And they
LA
just
Tech.
Yeah, LA Tech, and I think they won 35-3. So I don't think they look that good. I think Florida's gonna be hungry, especially being unranked after losing to USF.
I was so excited to watch DJ Lagway in his first snaps this year because he was such a highly touted freshman last year, and all the eyes were on him, and he's been exciting so far. He's still kind of getting his groove. I do think it'll be a close game, but I've got to take LSU too. I mean, they're just too talented. Garrett Nussmeier Florida looks good. I think it'll be a close game, but LSU's
Tigers better not disappoint me. The one time I'm picking them, they better come through.
I think I'm still yet to get a win on Pick'em, so I hope
Yeah,
this will.
AJ was 0-3 last week.
LSU will take me home to get my first win. But moving on to a game that I'm excited for because I think people are kind of underrating the defending AFC champs, but
Yeah.
Chiefs versus Eagles, Super Bowl rematch. I've got the Chiefs. I don't know.
I think, is he alone on this one?
I think he is alone on this
Yeah.
one. I'm going to go with the defending Super Bowl champions, the one that beat him 40-6 in February, the team that has looked good so far. I think, yeah. I mean, you had a little situation with the Eagles where they're spitting on people, but I mean, I think they'll take this one for sure.
I just think it's really hard at the beginning of the season to gauge on who's a really good team right away. Like we saw the Chiefs. That's not the Chiefs we're used and accustomed to seeing. But I'm still going to stick with the Eagles. They're riding the Super Bowl. They're riding their win over the Cowboys on Thursday night. I'm going to stick with Fly, Eagles Fly. As much as it pains me to say that, I'm sticking with the Eagles on this one.
I mean, the Chiefs lost their top weapon on offense on the third play of the game, and they still were a 3rd and 15 stop away from giving Mahomes the ball to go get a win. And I thought Herbert played the best game he's ever played in his entire career. So I don't know. The Chargers did everything they could to win, and Chiefs lost their best receiver. I think the Chiefs will bounce back and get the win against the Eagles.
It'd be very surprising to see the Chiefs start 0-2 to start the season, but I'm still sticking with the Eagles. Sorry, AJ.
It would be. They haven't lost 3 games in a row in Patrick Mahomes' career, I don't think. And I think
crazy
this would be
thing,
3 in
though.
a row with the Super Bowl included.
Same with their one possession. I mean, this spread's 1.5. They're expecting it to be one possession. The Chiefs hadn't lost a one possession game till, I think, 18 or 17 games. So I'm going to stick with the Eagles just because I trust them more. I think they kind of figured out the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. But
Do you think it'll be within a field goal, or what are we thinking?
it seemed like Chiefs games are always within one score. They always keep it close no matter who the opponent is. It could be the Raiders. It could be the Eagles. It doesn't matter. It's always going to be one score.
Always. Well, Rams, thank you for watching. Sorry about the technical difficulties. Make sure to donate, and we will see you next week.